Hello everybody, Caden here today with another episode of Prehistoric Kingdom, and today we are back on the world to build ourselves a lovely Tarbosaurus exhibit, which is, well, obviously desert themed, as you can kind of start to tell, and, well, I'm sure you guys saw the thumbnail as well, so. But yeah, we do a really cool desert exhibit today. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Something actually, I know I mentioned last later, but you know, whatever. Something that actually really helped this time is I actually sketched the exhibit out ahead of time. Man, that saved me so much time just like prototyping builds. Cause if you guys saw the last video, you'll remember I've said like last few builds I've done, they only took like, I think about 2 hours to make, hour and a half, something like that. But I spent basically like 3 or 4 hours before that, like trying to come up with an idea. This time, sketching it out really saved me a ton of time. This build took way longer than usual, just because I did a lot more cool stuff with it, and I think that was well worth it. I spent basically more time detailing instead of time trying to figure out what the heck I was doing. But yeah. Anyway, you can see we're building this giant rock wall here. This is meant to frame out the back of the enclosure, and you can see those stairs. I had meant to build those on camera, but didn't hit record until after I'd finished them, and I didn't feel like deleting them and making them again. It only took like 3 minutes, well, probably even less than 3 minutes to make them. Probably made them in like 30 seconds, but I just didn't feel like recording it again, so whatever. Yeah, anyway, this is basically gonna be a viewing area. I used to do this kind of stuff with, I can't even remember what animal that would be. Elephants, maybe? Or maybe I'm thinking of the Zoo Tycoon on the Xbox. I think that might be what I'm thinking of. But basically in that game, there's a really big like savanna exhibit, and it had like a waterfall behind it and stuff. No, maybe that was the jungle one. I don't honestly remember. But basically, it looked really cool, and you had these big viewing areas back up that were kind of covered by rock, and yeah, I just decided to try that out today, see how that would work, and I really love it. In the showcase, you guys will get to see a better view from it and how it looks and all that, and oh, it's so good, it's so good. It's probably my new favorite thing I've done in this world park type thing. Speaking of that, this is probably also my new favorite exhibit. I love the Triceratops one, and by the way, you guys will see, I actually did fix it a bit. I didn't fix all the builds, but I got most of the stuff fixed with it. But yeah, I think this is now my new favorite one. It looks, I don't know, there's just something about it that's really, really cool, and that I really just absolutely love with it. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with this build. What am I building here? Oh, this is this the fence? So I finally got to do the custom fence I've been thinking about doing for ages now, mostly because there was an update to the game. And it's actually really funny. Yesterday when I uploaded the last video, I think the update dropped like 10 minutes after that, and then everyone was like, oh, have you tried the update? And I'm like, no, I can't play it today. But yes, anyway, there was an update, and it added these lovely new chain link fences, and you guys will get a better view of this later on when we look at the actual build finish. But yeah, I absolutely love this thing. The new chain link stuff is amazing. It makes these high security fences so much easier to make, and I'm sure you can do some other really cool stuff with it, but this is obviously just the use I went with for them. And yeah, also, I know on Planet Zoo you can dye stuff like this. You can't, that's not yet in this game, but I tried putting those, I think they're commas or periods, I don't know which one it is. Basically some sort of punctuation on the top of these, because I was kind of hoping I could dye them red and use them as like, what would those be? Like little pylons to signify that it's like electrified and stuff, but that didn't quite work out how I wanted it to, but it works, it looks good enough the way it is, and I'm actually really happy with how that turned out. But yeah, also, heads up, most of this build is literally just placing rocks, although I am really happy with how I did the terrain on this one. I don't know if I do this now or I do it later, but I'm basically just marking out where I want rocks to go right now, but yeah, so I use this I don't even know what the tool's called. I call it the up-down tool, or maybe I should just call it the dune tool. I'm sure it's got an actual name, but basically, I just spattered that everywhere, and it made some really cool looking sand dune like structures, and I was like, oh, or terrain. I'm like, that actually looks really awesome. That's gonna make this build look a lot better. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know. I don't really have too much to say, I feel like, but it's just a really good build. I also find, well, okay, so this rock, my ability to build rock walls in this game has been interesting. I really like placing each one individually and trying to make everything very varied and very, you know, just super different, make everything look very individual and interesting and stuff. But that takes absolute ages, so I did try, especially as you'll see towards the end of the video, I basically started just copy-pasting my rocks everywhere because that was way easier than not doing that. And, yeah. I will say, though, it doesn't look quite as nice just because, you know, you don't quite have the variety that you know, I really enjoy having with builds like this. But yeah, anyway, it still turned out pretty good. And here is the shelter for the Tarbosaurs. Have I even mentioned this, the Tarbosaurus exhibit? I feel like I did. Maybe I didn't. Who knows? Not me. But yeah, I decided to do a little bit of a cave for their shelter, just so I didn't actually have to build one. And I could instead just do a cool little cave, because I haven't done anything like underground or cave-like or covered structures like that made out of rocks. And I was like, you know what? I want to try that today. I think that'll look really cool. But yeah, overall pretty happy with this. Basically, right now I think I'm just throwing, I'm throwing rocks down so I can start placing the fence in. You'll see I leave a gap here, and I think, oh yeah, I have those like concrete blocks there basically. I was gonna put a viewing area in here, and I don't end up doing it. I think I made a couple of attempts at it, but nothing was really working for me, and I wasn't thinking at the time, like, or I couldn't come up with an idea at the time of what would like work really well and look really nice, you know, that I could potentially, well, mostly because I was thinking we're still gonna do a T-Rex exhibit because the Tarbosaurus is technically its own animal, and that's probably gonna use the same exact fence I used for this one, which will make that exhibit a bit easier to build since, you know, I'm not making a whole new fence designed for it. But I also want I wanted a good viewing area that I could use for both this exhibit and that one. So yeah, I'm probably gonna build the viewing area for the T-Rex and then port that one over here for the Tarbosaurs, and obviously port the Tarbosaur fence over to the T-Rex when we get to that. But yeah, anyway, that's future Caden problems, not current Caden problems. I don't have to worry about any of that. But yeah, I did. I'm not sure how well this ended up looking in the video, but basically these big rock areas, I basically tried to fill them in with dirt so we could throw a ton of plants on top of them. And the area where the shelter ends up looking really nice. Again, you guys will see all that stuff much later when we go and look at the finished build. But yeah, overall, really, really happy with how this turned out. I don't know, I think I'm kind of getting a bit more of the hang of everything and how it works. I will say, I think the update really did fix a lot of the grouping issues I was having earlier, and everything's starting to work. Or that, and maybe I was just a bit more competent with this build, who knows, but everything took way less time, like the individual parts took way less time to work with than last time I tried to do stuff like this, so that was really, really nice, and I was able to more just focus on, you know, let's do some cool stuff, let's make something interesting, which I'm always a big fan. I've always would prefer to spend most of the time in a build trying to make something cool looking rather than, you know, battling the build system. Although that being said, I did have to battle it a bit with the viewing area we're putting here because for some reason it refuses to line things up properly. So for people with OCD, this build is going to this little viewing area is going to annoy you. It kind of annoyed me, but there's not really much I could do about it. Again, I'm sure it's just more down to my sheer incompetence than anything else, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, so it's at a bit of a weird like diagonal. I think it actually kind of works in the end, because it kind of fits with the rock structures and whatnot. But yeah, there you can see me putting in the glass viewing area for everything right there. But yeah, again, it was an interesting build trying to do this one just because, well, so I had to figure out a way to make it look good. Well, okay, look good and also not, you know, look like it was going to get smashed through by the Tarbos instantly so all the guests would get eaten. You know, that's generally something you try to avoid with stuff like this. But again, the chainmail fence came in handy here because I could just basically put it out of probably like 2 feet from the glass and go from there. And it worked really well, and I'm pretty happy with how everything was turning out with this build. Again, it's not the greatest viewing area, and there were a lot of issues with it, but for the most part, I think it turned out really well. And much like the what is it? Not the viewing area. What is it called? The shelter for the Tarbos. I gave this a bit of a rock ceiling, not initially by choice, more by accident. But I ended up going with it just because it looked fine, and it was pretty interesting. But yeah. Anyway, a lot of this build's just messing around with rocks and trying to make everything look good. This, I will say, is for the first time one of the only builds I didn't go completely overboard with plants with. I know we're still building this. We haven't got to plants yet, but you know what? I'll talk about it. Because yeah, I did try to make it somewhat desert-like, but I still threw a fair amount of foliage in. I tried to keep it fairly consistent, you know, trying to keep it with, you know, Oasis type areas. Also, these rocks here that I've done, these like pillar type thing or bridge type things made out of rock, I really like these. I don't know why I like them so much, but I do. They look amazing, and I am incredibly proud of them because, you know what? I'm allowed to be proud of some of my builds sometimes. Not most of the time, but occasionally I can be proud of something I've made. I will say I'm not proud of that roof, but you know what? It works, and that's all that matters. It works. It works for the most part, and yeah, it's fine. Anyway, you'll notice there. Oh, I guess it's not very apparent. Oh, here's the other viewing platform I tried to make. I just couldn't figure out an idea because this one was like meant to be like directly in the fence, but obviously it needs to be pretty well fortified because, you know, I'm trying to keep a like a 5-6 ton behemoth from you know, eating guests. So yeah, that didn't really work all that well. So it was interesting. Again, I'm just gonna come up with this for the T-Rex and port that, whatever design I come up with there, over here, and that'll be happy. That'll be good. I also brought this stone ceiling thing over the top viewing area thing. I'm pretty sure I already mentioned that, but I think it looks really cool, and it gives a really interesting look for the interior. The lighting's really cool, and the view from up here is amazing. I absolutely love it. Again, I've had just an absolute blast building this. It was a lot of fun. I really am just falling in love with the building system in this game. It's pretty fantastic. I mean, it's still got a couple bugs, but again, for this just being a very early version of the game, it is working incredibly well, and is just an absolute joy to play. But yeah, anyway, you can see me basically copying the fence over, and there was a weird little gap, so I just decided to make a little staff entrance door. Yeah, looks pretty good overall. Maybe not the most realistic thing in terms of, you know, what would actually be in this kind of exhibit. They probably wouldn't put a tiny little staff door in here, because more than likely that would be kind of a dumb idea, since the Tarbos would probably eat anyone who went through it, or they tried to break through that door. Who knows? But yeah. Anyway, we're getting basically just to the decoration part of the build now, where I just throw in all the plants and the terrain work and all that. So, yeah, I don't really think I have too much else to say, so I'm just gonna let the rest of this play out. You guys can enjoy the trees getting placed, and I'll catch back up with you guys to show off the final build. So, see you in just a second. All right, everybody, here we are with the finished exhibit. And I have to say, I think, I mean, as much as I do love the Ceratops, and I did actually throw a bunch of plants back in, I think this is the best exhibit I've made so far. I am incredibly happy with how this turned out. Now, obviously, I didn't put in all the viewing areas. I might throw some more of those in later as I kind of just get back. I've kind of realized I want to come up with a really good design that I can throw in not just this fence, but in other fences as well, because obviously this is just the Tarbosaurus, not the Tyrannosaurus. So we'll probably need a similar viewing area for the T-Rex if I want to put one in the fence. So yeah, that we'll have to come up with a design, and when I come up with that, we'll probably just plop some of those in here. But a couple of things, obviously. Oh, well, I'm sure I actually already mentioned this, so never mind. I was gonna say like, oh yeah, we had an update, but I've already mentioned that in the time lapse. It's kind of funny. For those of you who don't know, I usually record this before I record the time lapse audio, so yeah, it's kind of funny. So I never really know what I'm gonna say in that, so then I repeat myself. But you know what, whatever. Anyway, these things are lovely Tarbosauruses. Oh, they're so pretty. I love the coloring on them. I mean, I know I've said that basically about every dinosaur so far, but they are just very, very pretty animals. Oh, I love them. Absolutely adore them. But yeah, this is... I just really love this build. I feel like it's got a lot of cool stuff going for it. I love the fence, actually. I think... So, like, again, there was an update, and they added in this chain link fence, and I have to say it's probably my new favorite addition to the game, because, oh my goodness, this is by far one of the most useful things they've added. Just because, you know, there wasn't really a great way to make more high security looking fences beforehand. You would have to use, like, well, either you'd be using just a bunch of these bars here, or you'd be using like this, or the wooden slats I'd like to use on everything. Although, well, okay, aside from the smaller viewing area here, I didn't really use any of those today, so I'm kind of proud of myself. You know, I avoided using the one thing I've always been or just constantly been using the entire time. But yeah, that chain link fence is amazing. I think. I don't know what you guys think of this fence design I made, but I am really happy with it. I think it looks really nice. It's got enough going on to the point where it looks good, but it's not like over the top kind of crazy. And I'm actually really happy with how this little gate looks. I mean, it's definitely far more of like a Minecraft dinosaurs kind of thing I would have built than a thing that would be in an actual zoo, obviously. You know, you'd probably have much more of a Jurassic Park style thing here, so you know, it got like a little bit coming out here and a bit like back here, like making a proper like airlock kind of thing. Plus, I doubt many zookeepers would really be wanting to go into this place. You do have two rather massive Tarbosaurs in here. Oh, the male one, I love that burst of orange there. That's just so pretty. Absolutely adore it. Anyway, I just realized I should probably show things off a bit like more close up. I completely forgot to throw in dirt up here so I could throw plants in. Whatever. I really like this area. I actually was smart this time. If you guys have seen the other videos I've made. If you haven't, there is a link to the playlist down below that has the other 3 enclosures I've made. But, what was I gonna say? Oh my goodness, I've completely forgotten. What was I going to say? It was something. There was something important, intelligent, perhaps. I can't actually, oh my goodness, that's typical for me. I guess this viewing area, we'll talk about that. Oh, well, that's not really meant to be right there. We'll just quickly throw that, whoops, not duplicate, let's just do that and quickly move that out a little bit. But there we go. I really like this little viewing area here. I feel like it looks really... I like this whole little, like, just section here. Just having all these rocks right here, and you kind of got these 2 little archways going... Oh, archways. I think that's what it was. I haven't done archways yet in the other builds, and I feel like they added a lot of really cool stuff. And I got a lot more done with the rocks this time, which I was really happy about, while also taking less time to work with them. That being said, this build took twice as long as the normal builds do. But I think that really shows, like, it just... I don't know, it just has something extra to it. And I really love the lake here, or our pond oasis type thing. I love it. all the color, all the different textures, the fact it actually, I don't know, it just got a cool look to it compared to everything else. Also, the shelter's a bit different. I kind of regret copy pasting the same rock over and over, but it kind of gives it an interesting, very kind of manufactured feel, which is kind of what I was going for a bit, just because, oh wait, where's the thing I'm looking for? Ah, this. Yeah, let's just throw some bedding in here real quick and a quick feeder. You know, make sure the Tarbos have somewhere to sleep and stuff. I actually really like this. I feel like it's kind of cool, having a bit of a cave, instead of just, you know, the usual stuff. And one last thing, actually, before we kind of continue, I guess, or probably end this thing. Obviously, we have our stairs up here, but our elevated viewing area. I just I love this. Oh, that's what it was. Now I remember what I was gonna say. I was gonna say with the other exhibits, they've tended to take a long time to make because I design, I redesign, and I keep redesigning until I come up with an idea I'm really happy with, and then I build that and record that build. And you guys, I've mentioned that, especially in the Tarbosaurus episode, which was the last one, just kind of mentioning how it was taking a ridiculous amount of time and I was spending way too many hours before the video working on the video, essentially. But this time, I was a smart child and actually just sketched out the exhibit ahead of time, and that actually tremendously sped things up because then I already came in here knowing what I wanted to do. And then just kind of, you know, adapted the build to, or adapted the drawing basically to fit what I could do. And I absolutely love this viewing area. I mean, I was sure it was gonna look pretty cool, but I think this viewing section is the best. But that's just because, oh, you got like proper plants, you got some rocks and stuff. Like this is just a really cool view to go look at. Like, let's click that real quick. Oh, that is proper amazing. Oh, I love this. Obviously, like this area could still do with a bit of work, and obviously the stairs need a lot of work. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out overall. I think this is gonna be a really cool area. I don't know what animal we're gonna do next time. You guys can let me know in the comments down below. What do you want to see? What have we even got left? We got the Admonosaurus, which I think is gonna go here, so that way there's a bit more of like a bridge between, you know, the Tarbo and all this stuff over here. Although maybe we can. Well, maybe I was thinking of throwing like the Microraptor over here somewhere, and then the T-Rex will either go over here or out here somewhere. I don't really know. Again, since there aren't a tremendous amount of animals yet, there's not a tremendous amount of exhibits we can technically make. But I'm having a lot of fun with this. Let me know what you guys think of the exhibit down in the comments below. I'd love to get your feedback. And yeah, I think that's all we have for today. So thank you all for watching. I hope you've all enjoyed, and until next time, guys. See ya.